Goody and her parents lived in a cottage close to a forest. One day, her parents had to go to the city. Goody, there is enough food for you for 3 days, okay? Said her mom. Take care. Don't go outside. There is a big bad wolf lurking in the forest, said her father. As soon as her parents left, Goody jumped in joy. Oh, what fun! Now I can visit Grandma Gangu. Goody went to the backyard and talked to her friends, the pumpkins. I want to travel quickly and safely to Grandma's cottage. Will you please help me? I'll take you to Grandma, Goody, said a pumpkin. Goody thanked the big fat pumpkin. She gently pulled it off the creeper. She cut a door in the pumpkin and stepped inside. Goody closed the door and called out, "Roll, my pumpkin, roll! Take me to Grandma Gangu." The pumpkin started rolling. Thump-a-bump-a-bump it went. The big bad wolf was taking a stroll. His sharp ears picked up the sound. Thump-a-bump-a-bump. Thump-a-bump-a-bump. Seeing the wolf blocking its path, the pumpkin stopped. "Who's there?" shouted the big bad wolf. Goody stayed absolutely silent. "It's you, Goody. I can smell you," said the wolf. Goody put out her head and pleaded with the wolf. "Let me go, wolf, please. Let me visit Grandma Gangu one last time. You can eat me when I'm on my way back," said Goody with tears in her eyes. "All right, you can go now. But remember, I'll be waiting for you when you return," said the wolf. By the time Goody reached Grandma Gangu's cottage, she had forgotten all about the big bad wolf. She jumped out of the pumpkin and shouted, "Grandma Gangu, see who's here to see you." Grandma Gangu came running and hugged the little girl. Goody patted the pumpkin. "Thank you, friend. Rest now." Goody ate delicious food made by Grandma Gangu. Even more fascinating were the stories Grandma told. Soon, it was time to leave. She had to reach home before her parents returned. Grandma told Goody, "I am sending my grinding stone to protect you from the big bad wolf." Rested and refreshed, the big fat pumpkin was ready for the journey. Goody patted the pumpkin and said, "Well, we have company." Goody then patted the grindstone. "You are strong and handsome. You lead the way. We will follow you." The grindstone puffed with pride. My dear grindstone, roll, roll all the way and make the road safe for me, said Goody. The grindstone started rolling, making the sound thud, 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 thud. The pumpkin followed him, going thump-a-bump, a-bump, thump-a-bump, a-bump. The big bad wolf was waiting for Goody. He was very hungry by now. Then he heard a distant sound, a rumbling sound. Ah, she's here, thought the wolf. Standing in the middle of the road, he shouted, I am ready for you, Goody. The wolf didn't expect the grindstone, which came fast and furious and knocked him down. Badly shaken, the wolf gasped for breath. Just then he saw Goody rolling down the road in the pumpkin. Goody put out her head and waved to the big bad bruised wolf. Goodbye, wolf. Get well soon, she called out. Soon, Goody reached home. She thanked the grinding stone. Now go back to Grandma Gangu. I'm sure she's missing you, she said. Soon the parents returned and were happy to see Goody safe. Goody, we missed you a lot, her parents said as Goody hugged them. Meanwhile, the wolf licked his wounds and got up, hoping to get some food. Then he heard a familiar sound. Thud, 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 thud. Oh no! He cried out in fear and jumped. He fell into a ditch as the grinding stone rolled by. And that was the story of Goody and the wolf. The big bad wolf rested and refreshed. The big fat pumpkin was ready for the journey. Goody patted the pumpkin and said, Well, we have company. Goody then patted the grindstone. You are strong and handsome. You lead the way. We will follow you. The grindstone puffed with pride.
A camel was standing on the banks of a pond. He looked at his reflection in the water. Is there an animal more handsome than me? He said aloud. He didn't know that a donkey was listening to him. I doubt there is anyone more handsome than you, said the donkey. You are so tall. You have such a graceful neck, and the way you walk is so attractive. The camel turned and saw that it was a donkey who was praising his looks. So what if you are not handsome like me? Said the camel. You have such a sweet voice. The donkey grinned. Do you really think I have a sweet voice? Of course. In fact, I want you to sing at my wedding this evening, the camel said. I accept your invitation, Master Camel, said the donkey, bowing low. That evening, the camel's friends gathered for his grand wedding. The donkey pointed to the newlywed camels. Friends, never have we seen such a handsome pair. Give them a big hand. After the feast, the camel made an announcement. I invite the best singer we have in our group to sing a song. My dear friend, Donkey. As the donkey began to sing, many animals at the wedding closed their ears. But the camel had closed his eyes, enjoying the music. What a voice! What a song! A cuckoo who was attending the wedding grew sad. I have the sweetest voice in the forest, yet I was not invited to sing. His friend, the owl, consoled him. If the camel can be handsome, then surely the donkey has a golden voice. All the animals burst out laughing. And that's the story of Handsome Camel, Musical Donkey.
Sanju was a barber. He would sit under a tree and set up his shop. His customers would sit facing him to get a haircut. Well, this is called London haircut, Sanju would tell them with a smile. But don't worry, I will not charge you London rate. Sanju had big dreams. One day, I will earn a lot of money. With that money, I will open a barber shop lined with huge mirrors, he said to his wife. His wife playfully replied, if only all wishes could come true? Sanju got upset. He decided to leave home. His wife tried to stop him. Don't go, Sanju, she pleaded. I was only pulling your leg. But Sanju wouldn't listen to her. I'll come back home only when I have a lot of money. Sanju walked a few miles. As the sun came overhead, he decided to take a nap. I wish I had listened to my wife and stayed back, he thought. I'm so hungry. Sanju was not the only one hungry. A ghost who lived in that tree was hungrier. He jumped down. Sanju sat up. The ghost threw his hands wide and sang and danced in joy.
I am the ghost of the tree. So lucky I am. Food has come to me.
Sanju was a quick thinker. He too broke into a song. My heart's filled with glee. One more ghost in my kitty. The ghost was confused.
What are you talking about?
I already have one ghost in my box, said Sanju, and you will join him.
You are a liar,
Screamed the ghost. Let me show you the ghost, said Sanju with a smile. Sanju held out the mirror in the box. The ghost was shocked to see another ghost staring back at him. He didn't realize that he was looking at his own reflection. The ghost offered Sanju a bag of gold coins.
These gold coins will make you a rich man. Please let me go. Oh,
Sanju collected the bag of coins and headed home. His wife was happy. Thank God you're back. The next day, Sanju opened his barber shop. He put up large mirrors on the walls. In the afternoon, he had an unexpected visitor. It was the ghost.
my tummy is full. I am just here for a haircut.
Said the ghost and laughed. And that was the story of the ghost catcher.
Cookie, the crow, lived in a mud house. Gabby, the sparrow, lived in a brick house. One day, there was heavy rain. Cookie's mud house was washed away. She knocked at her friend Sparrow's door.
Please open the door. Who is that?
Gabby asked cautiously.
It's your friend, Cookie, the crow. My house was washed away in the rain. Please open the door and take me in.
The sparrow was kind-hearted. She opened the door and took her friend in. Gabby gave Cookie a towel to wipe herself and asked her to sit near the fire to warm herself. She also gave her dinner.
Let me spend the night with you. I will go away in the morning,
said Cookie.
All right, you can sleep in the drawing room,
said Gabby.
Let me sleep inside with your kids. I love kids,
Cookie pleaded. Gabby agreed. The little sparrows were already asleep. The crow laid down next to a plump baby sparrow. Gabby kissed the babies, adjusted their blankets, put off the light, and left for her room. Suddenly, there was a loud yell. Gabby rushed in and switched on the light. She found the crow crying in pain. Her beak was broken. Cookie had tried to eat up the little sparrow next to her, but it turned out to be a wooden toy. Gabby gave Cookie a stern look.
You are ungrateful. I gave you shelter and food, and you tried to eat up my children? Thank God, their toy saved their lives. You better leave now.
Gabby threw Cookie out and shut the door. It was raining hard. Cookie knocked at many doors. No one took her in. She had to spend the whole night out in the cold, getting wet in the rain. From that day on, Cookie decided she would never be ungrateful to her friends. And that was the story of the crow and the sparrow.
Run! Shouted the little hare. The lion is coming! All the animals of the jungle ran for their lives. But the lion was faster. He took one leap and caught hold of a couple of animals. One day, the animals of the jungle went to the Lion King. Don't kill so many of us, an old and wise owl requested. One of us will come to you every day. The lion agreed. He liked the idea of getting food delivered at his doorsteps. The lion stopped hunting. One animal arrived at his cave every day at noon, and the lion would have his meal. This went on for weeks and months. One day, no animal turned up. It was noon. The lion's stomach was growling. The lion was getting angry too. Just then, he saw a hare coming towards him. After making me wait for so long, they have sent you, a puny hare! He shouted. And why are you so late? I'm sorry, my lord. I was stopped by this new lion in the jungle, the hare said. The lion was shocked to hear this. Another lion in my kingdom? My lord, he said he is the new king of the jungle. Nonsense, said the Lion King angrily. I said the same thing to him, my lord. He laughed and said, a real king hunts his prey, waiting for food like a beggar. He is no king. The lion growled. The hare hastily added, that's what he said. The new king, the other lion. The lion got very angry. He'll pay with his life. Take me to him. Now! As he led the way, the hare cautioned his king. My lord, he is strong and lives in a fortress. No one in this jungle can challenge me and stay alive, said the Lion King. The hare took the lion to the other end of the jungle. A stone well stood in a clearing. Pointing out the well, the hare said, my lord, the other lion lives in that fortress. You wait here. I'll handle him. The lion said as he walked towards the well, which he thought was a fortress. The lion jumped onto the wall of the well and looked down. There he saw the other lion looking back at him. The lion didn't realize that he was staring at his own reflection. The clever hare had laid a trap for him, and the foolish lion had walked right into it. He gave a roar which echoed in the well and sounded even louder. The lion turned to the hare. This fellow is no doubt very strong, but he is no match for me. The hare was happy. His plan was working. Victory is yours, my lord. Get him! The lion jumped into the well. There was a splash of water and a loud thud. The lion never came out. Hooray! The hare jumped in joy. That's the end of our tormentor. All the animals who were hiding behind the bushes came out clapping. Your plan worked, little fellow, said the elephant. Little fellow, but brainy, very brainy, said the wise owl. And that was the story of the lion and the hare.
Arun's father was a farmer who grew sugarcane in his field. One evening, Arun's father had a job for him. The sugarcane is ready to be cut. I want you to stay awake all night and keep a watch on the field. Arun did try his best to stay alert. But soon, he grew sleepy. Suddenly, there was a noise. Arun sat up straight. He was shocked to see a white elephant eating the sugarcane. He ran after the elephant to chase it away. The elephant tried to flee, but Arun caught it by its tail. Suddenly, the elephant took off. Poor Arun got dragged along with him. He was afraid he would fall. So, he held on tightly to the flying elephant's tail. Soon, Arun turned curious. Where was the elephant flying to? The elephant landed in a garden above the clouds. This must be heaven, thought Arun as he let go of the elephant's tail. There were beautiful trees in the garden with juicy fruits. Arun started munching on the fruits. He even put some in his pocket to share them with his friends. When the elephant flew again, Arun held on to its tail. The elephant flew down, heading for the sugarcane farm. When it landed on the field, Arun ran to his village. He told his friends about his trip to heaven. He shared with them the fruits he had put in his pocket. His friends loved the fruits. The friends begged Arun to take them to heaven. He readily agreed. That night, they waited in the farm. Soon, they saw the white elephant coming down from the sky. They waited patiently till the elephant had its fill of sugar canes. When the elephant was ready to take off, Arun ran and caught hold of its tail. As the elephant rose, one of the friends caught hold of Arun's legs. And as it rose higher, another friend held on to the legs of the friend above. As the elephant flew, the friends began chatting. Are there watermelons in the heavenly garden? One of the friends wondered. Of course there are watermelons, said Arun. They're very big. How big? The friend asked. This big, said Arun, stretching his arms wide. As soon as Arun let go, the elephant flew away and all the friends fell from a height. Luckily, they all fell into a lake and quickly swam to the bank. The heavenly elephant was never seen again. And that was the end of their trip to heaven.
An old man lived with his 2 sons and their wives. The old man was fond of his 2 daughters-in-law. I've always wanted daughters. I'm lucky you two married my sons. The 2 daughters-in-law were sisters who belonged to a far-off village. One day, the 2 daughters-in-law started missing their home. Why don't we take a quick trip to our village? Asked the younger sister. That's a very good idea, said the elder sister. I'll talk to our father-in-law today itself. The elder sister spoke to the old man that very evening. Father, may we visit our village? We'll be back within a month. The old man sighed. I won't be able to bear staying away from you two for so long. We'll discuss this after a few months. The 2 sisters spoke to the old man once more after a few months had passed. Father, may we please visit our village? We will be back within a week. The old man knew he couldn't refuse them this time. He came up with a plan. You may go, he said, but you must bring me gifts when you return. One of you must bring me paper that wraps itself around fire, and the other must gift me paper that wraps itself around wind. If you don't bring me these gifts, then you must promise to never leave this house ever again. The daughters-in-law were so eager to go home. They agreed to the condition without giving it much thought. Back in the village, the 2 sisters had a great time. They were so happy to meet their family and old friends that they forgot all about the gifts for the old man. Soon, it was time to leave. Oh no, we forgot about the gift, cried the younger sister. Where do we get paper that wraps itself around fire? Wondered the elder sister. The paper will burn, right? The younger sister too was worried. And how can paper wrap itself around wind? It will simply blow away. The 2 sisters left their village. The path led them through a forest. Once inside the forest, the sisters started crying. Without the gifts, we'll never be able to return to our village. They wailed aloud. Their tears flowed into the ground. A forest spirit appeared before them. Why are the 2 of you crying so much? Don't you know salty water is bad for the trees? The 2 sisters stopped crying and told the forest spirit the whole story. We can't find paper that wraps itself around fire, nor can we find paper that wraps itself around wind. Such papers do not exist, they said. The forest spirit laughed. Of course, such papers exist. He waved his hands. 2 ordinary sheets of paper appeared in mid-air. One sheet curled up to form a cylinder. The forest spirit handed the paper cylinder to the elder sister. Light a candle in the center of this cylinder. The fire won't touch the paper, and you'll have paper that wraps itself around fire. You can call this lamp. The forest spirit picked up a few twigs from the ground and stitched the second piece of paper to them. Handing this to the younger sister, the forest spirit said, "When you move this paper, wind moves along with it. You can call this fan." The two sisters happily returned to the old man's home with the two gifts. The old man was happy to receive the lamp and the fan from his daughters-in-law. "You may go to your village whenever you want," the old man said with a smile. He now knew that the two sisters loved him a lot and would never leave him for too long. And that's the story of the tricky gifts.